It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, we did it. We survived another Monday, rolling along here on a Tuesday. And John, when you know, sometimes when you look back and remember when, it just puts a smile on your face. You got one of those here today.
43 years ago tonight, July the 12th, 1979.
Yep.
Now, I like disco music. Don't get me wrong. I was one of those kids that came up in the 70s. Now, I like the hard rock and roll. I loved Leonard Skinner and the Allman Brothers and Led Zeppelin and Creedence Clearwater and all that. But, I like that dance music.
Well,
now, I wasn't no dancer, but I love that. I like that disco music.
There's a lot of people that like disco music. They just don't want to be associated with the people wearing the crazy outfits and the funky hairdos and moves and all that kind of stuff.
But July 12th, 1979, the folks in Chicago had enough of it.
Oh, okay.
They had Disco Demolition Night at Comiskey Park.
Demolition?
I remember it. I remember seeing it on all the TV channels. I remember seeing it in the magazines and stuff, the newspapers. They piled a whole big pile of disco records out in the infield and ran over them with a steamroller.
Oh, I was trying to say, how do you destroy disco or demolish disco?
The disco, the Chicago fans went crazy with it. They ended up having to forfeit the game against the Detroit Tigers because they started it and it just kept growing. The people kept throwing more records out. They kept, of course, it was like, and I also believe it was like nickel beer night.
Oh, no.
Which is not a good time.
That was never a good idea.
Which is not a good time to do something, when you're having something like that. And I believe they done away with nickel beer night after that.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal. I remember it. And like I said, I like that disco music. There's a whole bunch of it that I really liked, and I still like it. But, some folks just didn't get it.
There you go.
And, the Chicago fans apparently took it to another level.
Yeah, no doubt they took it to another level and everything. So
I can remember, the White Sox standing out there looking on with glee, thinking, this is going to be great. And then they ended up having to forfeit the game to the Detroit Tigers.
I wonder where they finished in the race that year. Don't tell me they finished 2 games out of it.
I don't remember that. You're the stat guy, not me.
I'd have to look that
You're
up.
The stat guy.
1979.
1979, July the 12th. I remember thinking, man, that's pretty cool. But, they destroyed all them records,
Yep.
But, for the hard rock guys, they took a stand and they took it to the next level.
Was it 33s or 45s?
It was all of it.
Yeah, everything, huh?
Yeah, they brought it.
Probably threw some 8-tracks out there.
I remember
they
came out of the gates, come in the gates with the steamroller.
Okay.
And just mashed all them records, and then they had to clean it up.
And then they got to clean it
and
up.
they ended up having to forfeit the game because it went on too long.
When did this seem like a good idea?
And that's like I said, it was nickel beer night too. And, the fans were just pouring stuff on the field, and it got out of control. It was chaos, bedlam, pandemonium, and mayhem.
Which means it was a good time.
Which means it was a good time.
And we're still talking about it all these years later.
My good friend from Chicago, Mike Bellina, who was a policeman, was a young policeman at that time. And I've asked him about it before, and I didn't remember the dates or anything, but I asked him about it, and he wasn't there. But he talked about what a big deal it was.
There you go.
That it was a major ordeal, because it was everybody got out of control.
Oh yeah, without a question.
Nickel beer night, I'd get out of control.
I can understand that too.
Walk
in with $1 and
man,
walk out plastered.
Right, full of hot dogs and beer and no more disco albums.
There you go, absolutely. Hey, that's going to wrap up Remember When with Uncle John. When you ask your buddy, hey, did you hear what they were talking about, Demolition Disco Night on the Remember When with Uncle John show this morning, and you say no, or they say no, here's what you do. You tell them, okay, what you need to do is go listen to the podcast, which you can find on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Google, or you can go find it on YouTube as well.
Absolutely. And as KC and the Sunshine Band would say, do a little dance, make a little love, run over a few records.
There you go. Also, thanks to Sherwin-Williams House Paint for being one of our great sponsors, as well as ProMed Ambulance Service and the Prescott Raceway. We'll see you tomorrow, John.
And appreciate you, JJ, down at the Shopper's Guide. See you tomorrow, Kelly.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.